but have a tremendous amount of faith, trust, and confidence and respect for those people, their character, and what they do as football players. And I think that's probably the most important thing. But we do, I will say this, we do try to encourage our players to do things together. You know, we have a bowling night in the summer where all the guys go bowling together, and so that we do give them an opportunity to get to know each other a little bit better outside of football.
Straight ahead in the back.
Coach, you said a few minutes ago you think every team in the West is pretty strong. How do you think the landscape of the division has changed since you first came into it years ago?
Well, I don't really think it's changed much. I think we're probably have made some improvement since I came in the league. But I think that, you know, the statement I made is I thought that every team in our division would improve and be better than they were a year ago. I can go through each team and tell you why. But, you know, Arkansas's got a really good quarterback, and all their offensive players return, and probably going to improve on defense. And, you know, I think LSU's got a lot of good people in their quarterback back and some good skilled players, and they've always had pretty good players and done a good job of coaching them. I think Mississippi State's going to be better. I think Ole Miss is going to be better. I think Auburn's going to be better. I think everybody on our end of it is going to improve. So, and I don't think the landscape of the league has changed that much. I think there's a lot more parity than way back when I was at LSU in terms of a lot of good coaches, a lot of good programs, and a lot of good teams. And I think the SEC as a league just keeps getting better because we're I think the national exposure we get as a league really helps us all get more national recruits, and you know, national exposure is something that's helped us do that. And I think the great TV package that we have has been a real key to that.
To your left, first row.
Ron Higgins, Commercial Appeal, Memphis. Nick, going back to the agents, how would yanking an agent's license per year hurt that agent, since most of them have so much cash pile up anyway, they could survive professionally? And secondly, if you ban NFL scouts from the campus, can't they get tape anyway to evaluate?
They probably could, but what else can we do? I mean, I'm for doing something. I don't think the system as it is right now is very good. And I would hate for somebody to suspend me and tell me that I can't collect fees in my profession for a year. That would do me a lot of good in terms of straightening out whatever I was doing wrong. So, you know, if you weren't writing well and they said, hey, we're not paying you for a year because you're not writing with professionalism, that wouldn't have any effect on how you change what you're doing. I think it would have a significant impact on what they do. You know, you can say whatever you want about nothing's about money, but I think most everything gets a little bit about money somewhere along the way. And if you make these guys do what they're supposed to do, or they can't get paid in that profession, it's going to change what they do. I mean, I'd change. I can't speak for what you do, but I certainly would. And you know what? It's not fair to the good agents, because there's a lot of good agents out there that don't do this stuff. They're not out there chasing guys and giving them money and breaking rules and flying them all over the country and sending girls after them and all kind of stuff. They're not breaking the rules. And you know what? Those guys, it's unfair to them. So, you know, I mean, they could fix it. It could get fixed. Do you have a standard of behavior and conduct that we have as coaches, that you have as professionals in what you do, that they should have in professionals at what they do? And if they don't meet that conduct, they can't make a living doing that. It would straighten it out. Now, and the NFL can do that. We don't need to not let them to come to practice to do that. There's already people that don't let them come to practice. I've never had 1 minute of our practice ever restricted to NFL scout. Anything that we ever do, in benefit of our players. And I would absolutely hate to do this, but I would also hope that the NFL and the NFL Players Association would do something about this without us having to do that.
Straight ahead, third row.
Coach Saban, can you talk about the role that Dante Howard will play on defense this fall and how it might be similar or different to the role that Rolando played last year?
Well, first of all, they're two completely different players, both very good players, and Both guys that have made a very positive contribution to the success of our defense. But Dante Hightower is a very good inside linebacker. The thing that he does a little bit different than Rowe is Rowe was the signal caller and kind of the leader out there, and Dante's a little bit more of a pass rusher, could play defensive end, could be a DPR, designated pass rusher, can move around, play multiple roles and positions, and that's how we were using him last year prior to his injury. And we would like to be able to use him that way again this year if that's possible, where Rolando McClain played the same position all the time. He played Mike linebacker all the time, and he was a good blitzer, and he was a playmaker, and he made a lot of plays, but he was the signal caller and stayed in that position all the time. I'm hopeful that Dante will not just have to be the signal caller all the time, so that he can play some of those other roles as well, because they are tremendous assets for him and would be assets for our defense.
To your right near the wall.
Coach Mike Herndon with the Press Register in Mobile. With as many college football teams are using a spread offense now, and the success you've had with a pro-style set, do you see many teams in college football perhaps taking advantage of what you do and mimicking some of what you do? Could that be a trend in college football to maybe go back to more of a pro-style set? And also, what advantages does that give you on the recruiting trail when you're recruiting offensive athletes to play in a set like they will eventually play in the NFL?
Well, I think that one of the things that we always tell players when we're recruiting them is, when you go to college, you're in the business of developing two careers. When you want to develop a career off the field by graduating from school, and that's the most important career that you have to develop when you go to college. But you also want to have a great college experience as a football player, win a championship, be as good as you can be, and see if you can develop a career as a football player and play at the next level. And being a little bit of a pro background guy, we've always tried to sort of pattern our systems out of how we could best develop guys to be able to do that. And that's probably why we play offense the way we play it, and it's the way why we play defense the way we play it. And even to special teams, we haven't gone to the spread punt and all that kind of stuff, which is pretty predominant in college football. And I think there is some concerns, at the next level, which is not our concern in college, because I will say this: the spread offense and some of the things that are being done offensively in college football is very challenging and very difficult to defend, especially if you have the kind of personnel to do that. So this is in no way a criticism of that style of offense, because I think it's very difficult to defend. But I do think it's more difficult for the people in the NFL, which is really not our issue as college coaches, to sometimes evaluate, players that a left tackle that never gets in a three-point stance, a quarterback who never takes a snap from under center, a runner that never gets the ball with his shoulders down, pointed down the, parallel to the line of scrimmage. So, some of those things are evaluation issues, which it's the player's choice when he chooses that, where he wants to go to college and the style of offense or defense he wants to play.
To your left of the aisle.
Coach, with all the expansion stuff and talk during the summer with some schools pulling power plays and getting more of a revenue share, do you think there will ever be a day in the SEC where the power schools in this league say, hey, we deserve more than some of the lower tier schools?
Well, I certainly hope that never happens. I think in the spirit of parity, in the spirit of togetherness in the league, and the spirit of great competition, the best way is the way we do it. And, I know that Alabama and Florida in the last couple of years have played on national TV a bunch of times, and maybe Vanderbilt hadn't had the same number of opportunities, but I'm absolutely all for them getting the same amount of money as we get, because for the development and benefit of their student athletes across the board in every sport, as well as the competitive balance in the league. So I'm 100% behind the way we do it, and I hope it never changes.
To your right, first row.
Scooter?
Coach, at LSU, I remember you kind of had to change the culture to where the people expected excellence. And like